What's good, great people? It's your boy Tony Treble, and welcome to Talk with Treble Terminology. Today's going to be a very special Talk with Treble terminology because I'm going to be letting you all preview the new Sing 101 series. So go ahead and stick around, and today we're going to talk about solfege. Let's jump right into it. We're getting into the human voice. The human voice is the first instrument to ever exist. The human voice, as with any wind instrument, is tone created by air flowing over your vocal cords to create vibration. It's also known that most wind instruments were created to mimic and model after the human voice. Now that we know that, let's jump right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is solfege, because this is the language of music between singers, much like the number system to musicians. It's a way to speak to different instruments without the need to think about the notes on the scale directly. Each person hears the name or the number, and they play or sing the corresponding tone. The system of solfege can be traced back to the 11th century, where theorist Guido de Arezzo created it as a way to teach simple melodies at a fast pace to singers who at the time did not read, nor did they have access to the little music that was notated. Solfege is used in Western music and is made up of 7 primary note names with modified pronunciations of each for the chromatic notes in between. The note names are as follows: do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Do is the first degree of the scale, and it's the most important note as this note literally sets the tone for the rest of the scale degrees. It's the starting point of the scale, and this note can also be called the tonic. Re is the second degree of the scale. It's 2 half steps above do, and this interval from do to re is called a major second. This degree can also be called the supertonic. Mi is the third degree of the scale, spelled M-I. Here we're referring to a major third, which is 4 half steps above the do. This degree can also be called the mediant. Fa is the 4th degree of the scale, and this interval is called a perfect fourth, and it's located 5 half steps above the do. It can also be called the subdominant. Sol is the 5th degree of the scale, and this interval is called a perfect fifth. It's located 7 half steps above do, and it can also be called the dominant. La is the 6th degree of the scale, and it's located 9 half steps above do. It can also be called the submediant. Ti is the 7th degree of the scale, and it's located 11 half steps from the do. It can also be called the leading tone. We now end the scale back at the do, but this interval is actually called a perfect octave, and it's the 8th degree of the scale, which is 12 half steps above your starting point. Though it is 12 half steps above the initial do, it's the same tone or the key as the original note by its name.